Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to Gear Corner. Today we're checking out the Wampler Mofetta, which is Brian Wampler's take on the now legendary Ibanez MT10 Mostortion. The MT10 came out as a kind of a cheap pedal. It was this affordable series of pedals which Ibanez brought out to sort of make pedals accessible for a lot of people. Still, a lot of professional musicians fell in love with the MT10 because of its low gain drive tone. It has a 3-band EQ, so it's very versatile. You can make it work with whatever amp and guitar you're using, and it just did the low gain thing so well. So Brian Wampler took that idea, because these original pedals are now really expensive. You can get them from like 300 to 600 euros or dollars, which is it's not an affordable pedal anymore. So he made that happen in the Mofetta. It has two settings, the original setting, and if you flick the texture switch up, then you actually get a MOSFET clipping, because the original one did not have that. It used like a normal op amp and just sort of simulated a MOSFET style clipping. This one gives you the original non-MOSFET and an actual MOSFET clipping option. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these shenanigans, and check out the description box under the video. If you open it up, you'll find timestamps, additional infos, gear links, my merchandise in case you want to grab something. So the Mofetta has bass, mids, and treble in the upper row, level and gain in the lower row, plus the texture mini toggle. In the low position, you have the original voicing without the actual MOSFET clipping, and in the upper setting, that's Brian's fine-tuned version of the original circuit. So let's start in the original setting, and I'll show you my clean tone first with the tele, then I'll grab a humbucker guitar too. This is the Rev D40, which is an amazing sort of pedal-friendly amp. This is the clean channel, of course, and then I'll turn on the Mofetta. This setting is obviously very conservative. All the EQ knobs are pointing 12 o'clock and the gain is barely on. It's like 9 o'clock. So this is how I know this tone. This is what you've heard on probably, I don't know, hundreds if not thousands of recordings played by Nashville guitar players who just prefer this to have that very slight breakup that just makes your guitar tone a bit more, I don't know, enjoyable to play compared to like super clean, and just cut through better a mix because of all those harmonics that get introduced to the clean guitar tone. Now let's see what's up with the new setting. The texture mini toggle allows you to flick over to the upper setting, which actually introduces MOSFET clipping. This circuit seems to love guitars with single coil pickups. I don't know why exactly, but it just reacts in a very natural way. It's really cool to push the mids or the low end if you need that. It doesn't change the tone too much, it just makes it really round and warm, and it's really delicious. I'll show it with the humbuckers later on for sure, but first let's hear the Strat. Now about the 3-band EQ, even though the knobs are very sort of aggressive, they don't get too extreme. So it's not like you turn down the bass and then it's just an unusable sound. It is very much reasonable if you have like a very warm sounding rig. You can still get away with it. Or if you want to crank it fully, as long as you don't crank the gain as well, it's still a very much balanced tone. Let me show what happens if you twist the knobs. Okay, the most aggressive one is the treble, but that's the frequency our ears are most sensitive to, so it makes, of course, sense. Depending on the rig or the guitar or what you have in front of this pedal or after this pedal, you might want to crank the treble, but I guess that's the one knob that will stay around 12 o'clock for the most part on most boards. But the bass and the middle are knobs that will definitely get tweaked a lot depending on your taste, the style you're playing, etc. So that's really, really cool. And now, let's grab a Les Paul. It's not really a tight high gain metal distortion, but it is definitely high gain. It has a lot of compression, a lot of saturation. It has this silky, thick something about its mid-range, which is really cool. It's kind of a giveaway that it's a pedal distortion instead of an amp distortion, even though I was in the MOSFET mode, which sounds more amp-like compared to the old school setting of the texture with the old school clipping of the MT10. But I like that tone. I don't know, I can totally see it as being like a really cool drive for some like grunge or punk or doom or certain styles really. But honestly, I kind of prefer the gain up until like 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock. That's where it gives a very much amp-like sort of soft little something like edge to the tone that is just really cool, and does it in a different way compared to, let's say, obviously a Klon, which has much less low end and a different mid-range, different than a Tube Screamer for sure, because that doesn't really have any low end or mid-range or presence. Also like Blues Breakers type pedals that do that really well, just sound much more sort of sophisticated compared to this. This is more open, more raw. I don't know. It's not that silky, super smooth kind of clipping, this one. It has, in both settings actually, of the texture, whether it's the old school or the actual MOSFET clipping, it just has a more direct way of clipping the signal. I really think it's a unique one, and I much prefer buying one built out of better quality parts for less money than buying an old one just to get that kind of tone and clipping option in my collection. So yeah, good job, Brian, as always. Thank you for your service. All right, make sure to leave a comment below and see you in the next video. Bye bye.